Okay, well, if you just watch Mr. Walker, it looks really confusing. I'm going to try to make it much simpler for you today on your homework assignment. We've got to look at it a couple times at least the way he was doing it with repeated addition. And then I'm going to show you an easy way to do it too. So basically, we've got 6 times 1/3 here. Okay, so we could do that as 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1/3. Okay, and if we were to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thirds together, we would get 6/3. All right. So that's fine, except that's an improper fraction, right? So what are we going to do here? Well, the way he showed you is how many thirds would it take to make a whole? 3/3 would be 1. So let's take these 3/3, and that would equal 1 whole because it's 3/3. And let's take these 3/3. That would equal 1 whole because it's 3/3 more. So 3/3 plus 3/3 would be 6/3. But we know that 3/3 plus 3/3 is also 1. So it's really 1 plus 1. So this answer is also 2. 6/3 equals 2 because this is a one group of whole. This is a one group. This group represents 1 and this group represents 1 is what I'm trying to say. So we have 1 and 1, and that's 2. Another way to think about this, what's 6 divided by 3? It's 2. Okay, 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that's another way to think about it. Let's look at this next one. 6 times 1/2. So we're going to do the same thing. 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2. If we were to add all those halves together, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 halves. 6 times 1/2 is 6 halves. Okay, now let's group these into groups of 1 again. How many halves make a whole? Well, 2 halves, right? 2 over 2 would be 1. So let's group it in groups of 2. There's one group of 2. There's another group of 2. And there's another group of 2. So this represents 2 halves, which is 1. This represents 2 halves, which is 1. This represents 2 halves, which is 1. Okay? And if we were to do 2 halves plus 2 halves plus 2 halves, we could still get 6 halves. But we know now 1 plus 1 plus 1 is what? 3. Okay? Now, 6 divided by 2 is what? 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So you can write these out. That's a long process. Can I show you something really simple? 12 times 1/4. Dude, 12 times 1 is 12 fourths. 12 times 1 is 12 fourths. Because it's going to be, if you wrote 1/4, you would have 12 of them, right? 12 times, so it's 12 fourths. Okay, now think about this. 12 divided by 4 is what? 3. 3 times 4 is 12. So 12 times 1/4 is 3. Got that? Either way you want to do this on today's homework, however it helps you, do it that way. These are the kind of easier ones actually on today's homework because the next page we've got to do some decomposing to find the answer. So we're going to multiply, all right, 7 times 1/3. And really this is 7 over 1. So 7 times 1 is 7 and 1 times 3 is 3. Don't really worry about this. Just multiply 7 times the top number. Don't do 7 times 3 is 21. Don't do that. Do 7 times 1 is 7. Remember how we showed you that over here? We would do 7 1/3. If we wrote them all out, it would be 7/3. So 7 times 1 is 7/3. But now look, you can't divide 3 by 7. So what do? We already know how to do this. It's just a improper fraction, and we got to change it to a mixed number. Okay, it says write it as a mixed number. So what are we going to do? We're going to take 3/3 That's 1. But I'm going to get all the way to 7, so I can do 3/3 more. So 3 and 3 is 6/3. So I've got to do 1 more this time, and I'm going to have 1/3 more. So 3 plus 3 plus 1, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So I've got 7/3 represented here, but now we've got 2 holes. There's a third, there's a hole, there's a hole. So 2 holes and 1/3 more. So we're just decomposing like we have been the last few days, except we can decompose 3 times instead of 2. Let's look at the next one. 7 times 1/2. Remember, we'd have to do 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 7 times, and it would be 7/2. 7 times 1 is 7 halves. All right, but we got to write as a mixed number, so we got to decompose. I'm going to do it 3 times, and we've got to have halves, so I'm going to have 2 halves, and 2 halves more. That would be 4. Oh, we're going to have extra this time. 2 halves more would be 6, but I've got to get to 7, so I'm actually going to have 1 more half. 2 plus 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So this time we actually had to decompose it 4 times. So now we've got 1, 2, 3 holes. Because this is 1, this is 1, this is 1, right? 2 halves is 1, 2 halves is 1, 2 halves is 1. And then I have 1/2 more. So 3 and 1/2. Okay, the next one. 10 times 1/4. 10 times 1 is 10/4. Okay. Now, I've got to decompose this. This is 1. Looks like it's going to have 3 to me. Let's see if I'm right. We've got to do fourths. So 4/4 is 1. Another 4/4. 4 plus 4 is 8. So I've got to have 2/4 more to get to 10. 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 2 is 10/4. Let's find our groups of whole numbers. There's 1 whole number. There's 2 whole numbers. So I have 2 whole numbers and 2/4 more. Okay. Next, 14 times 1/3. We're going to do 14 times 1 is 14 thirds. Okay. Oh boy, this is going to be a busy one because we got to do thirds, and we've got to see how many is going to be left over. I'm going to start with 4, I think, on this one, and we'll see how many we have to go. So let's do thirds. So 3/3. 3/3 more would be 6/3. 3/3 more. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9. 3/3 more would be 12/3. 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3 is 12. Oh my. But 12, and then I'd have to have 2 more to get 14. So 3 times 4 is 12, 13, 14 thirds. So how many do I have? 3/3, 3/3, 3/3, 3/3. So that equals 4. Each one of these represents 1, remember. 3/3 is 1. And 2/3. Okay. Now, that's a little tricky, but if you'll just keep dividing these answers up into little decomposed ones like this until you get to that top number, then you'll be able to do it. That's a bit tricky today, so it may take you a little bit longer. Come back and watch my video of me doing these again and again if you need to. Okay, so we'll definitely work on this in our Google Meet today. Go get started. Give this lesson a try.